Good evening, everybody. We're going to get going. It's Simon Halliday here, Sporting Wine Club. Before I introduce everyone on the call, and particularly welcome to Bertu Nel and Reenen Borman from South Africa, representing Louis57's team, we'd like to play you a short, fun video. Here it goes.
Om nie een dag te breek, hou die mannen bezig elke naweek. Maar daar's meer wat gebeur by die 19e graad. Daai bier, soet soos brood, jy wil laat speel waar die donne oorloop. Vir net een pad op 'n skavelmat, in 'n volle randstad. Sy is die perfecte dryf op 'n paar 5, daar's 'n banke in die pad, pas op vir die water die omhoog slaat ons styf. Daar's geen raak op dat my lyf, sy is bier op 'n paar 4, aflaag dans in die gat en roep die ballenade vir die omhoog en slaat ons styf. Sy hele game my life, vir 'n perfecte dryf. Op 'n paar 5, daar's 'n banke in die pad, pas op vir die water die omhoog slaat ons styf. Daar's geen raak op dat my lyf, sy is bier op 'n paar 4, aflaag dans in die gat en roep die ballenade vir die omhoog en slaat ons styf. Sy hele my lyf, vir 'n perfecte dryf.
Well, there we go. Don't ask to translate that. I'm sure Bertu and Reenen might be able to, but the fun side of Louis and his team playing some light-hearted golf. And anyway, it's a great pleasure to welcome you to this virtual wine tasting and to welcome the team in South Africa who I'll hand over to shortly. But just for those of you who don't know as much about us, Sporting Wine Club is a membership club, and we import estate bottled wines from around the world, and the key criteria is that there needs to be an authentic connection to sport, and there's no one more authentic, obviously, than Louis57. And so that's what we do. There's going to be a series of virtual wine tastings through the year, which we hope you'll enjoy. But the focus here is golf, and just from a few fun facts of Louis, of course, he was an Open champion himself back in 2010. I think I'm right in saying has won 22 tournaments around the world, and probably many, many more. But those are the major ones. Been a runner-up, I think, 6 times in majors, and owns, I think, 2 of the best shots ever struck in the Masters. And so, you talk about an absolute champion here. And also, we know how much work Louis and his foundation does for the charitable causes, which strikes right at the heart of our involvement. Sporting Wine Club does an awful lot in that area. So for us, this ticks every single box. Quality wines, 57. If you don't already know, the lowest, and Bertu will tell us more, but the lowest, normally my score after 9 holes, but was his score after 18 some years back, and I think it's a record that still stands. So, as I say, it's an absolute pleasure for us to have load shedding notwithstanding from South Africa, Bertu Nel and Reenen Borman, and I'm now Titus is going to look after the operations of the call. We're really looking forward to hearing about wines, and obviously it's a summer of golf coming up. Louis is coming to England for the Open up at Royal Liverpool, and I think he's in London the week before. So it's going to be a really fun few months ahead. and we're looking forward to it. So without more ado, I'll pass over to Bertu to tell you more about the background of Louis and his wines, and then we'll get going on the wine tasting. So Bertu, over to you. Welcome.
Thank you, Simon. Apologies for being a little bit late, but in South Africa we've got something called load shedding. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that in the UK, but in South Africa at the moment we're getting 10 hours of no electricity per day. And that obviously for anybody being in business or like Reenen as the winemaker, that's a huge challenge. But we as South Africans, we're managing that. We're betting around that, so we're kicking the ball this way and that way, and we're surviving and we're doing well. So sorry for being a little bit late, but we are here. We are here to tell you more about Louis57 and our brand. And Reenen will talk about more about the wines. But before we start, I just want to congratulate Reenen. I haven't seen him since it's been made known. He is the youngest winemaker in South Africa to be inducted into the South African Winemaking Guild. His father has been one of the first guys to be in it, and he's the youngest one in South Africa. So Reenen, congratulations. That's a huge honor to be included in the South African Winemakers Guild. And you being the youngest ever, so congratulations on that.
Thanks, Bertu. Appreciate it.
It's well known amongst other guys, but that's one big achievement, to be included into that fraternity is a real big feather in your cap. So I think that's very well done. But yeah, it's a great introduction there, Simon. I think that's what Louis all about. Louis always tells his kids in his junior golf academy is to enjoy golf, have fun on the golf course. And that's the type of guy that we know. People see him on the golf course quite serious and focusing on his golf and playing well. But we know Louis as a fun-loving guy. The singer in that video clip is a guy called Arnie Jordan. He's a very well-known South African singer, one of the young idols in the country. And he asked Louis to be part of his music video. You've always seen Louis doing the lip sync on the airplane and in the bus with the President's Cup and so forth. And he asked Louis to be part of his music video, and I think it's a real nice, fun-loving video. And I think in South African crowd, the people that know Afrikaans, they all enjoy the music and they enjoy that particular video. So Louis played a 57 in 2002 at the Mossel Bay Golf Course, a links golf course here in the town that I live. It's a par 72, so it's 15 under par, no mean feet. It's not a mashy course, it's not a chip and putt golf course, it's a proper golf course. And a score of 57 is quite a mean feat. And that's where the brand originated, So he played the 57, and when we started the brand, we thought we needed to do something with that 57 because it's a world-recognized score, something of a very good achievement, and we brought that into the brand. So that's where we started with Louis57 Wines. So in 2009, we started the Louis57 Foundation, which is his junior golf academy. He's looking after 40 kids in various tiers. One of our kids played in the Masters, Ulrich Potgieter. He won the British Open Amateur last year, and he got invited to 4 majors, of which the Masters was one. So we've got some top youngsters playing. One of the guys is in Georgia Tech at the moment. The other one is turned pro. He's playing in the South African and the European circuit, Martin Foster. So our golf academy is delivering some really, really top juniors. But we're also looking at the less privileged kids. There's like 30 of them that are coming from poor communities, and we're learning them life skills, not so much to do with golf, but more life skills. And then we've got a feeding scheme. We're feeding 600 kids a day with a specialized porridge formula. And that's kids between the ages of 3 and 7 in the real poor communities. We're going out there on a daily basis and giving them a nutritional porridge that gives them 80% of their nutritional needs per day. And then we've got a school caring for kids with all various autism and Down syndrome and so forth. We've got 40 kids in those schools that Louis funds. And then we look after kids with cancer. So that's all part of the foundation, the Louis57 Foundation, a real charity drive looking after kids. Louis and his wife, NelMari, has got a passion for kids. I mean, they love kids. and that's why their whole foundation is focused on kids. And then in 2009, to support the foundation, we started with Louis57 Wines. So the whole brand Louis57 Wines, and this is the Sauvignon Blanc that we'll be tasting a little bit later. On the back, you'll also see the scorecard. It's on the back of every bottle is the actual scorecard, the 57, how Louis shot the 57 at Muscle Bay Golf Course. So if you've got a bottle in hand, you can turn it around, and you'll see the scorecard on the back of each label, representing the 57 that Louis played. And you can see there, 15 under par being now in feet. So we started with the Louis57 Wines. We partnered up with Boschkloof. Boschkloof, Jaap Borman, Reenen's dad. He worked for Johan Rupert at Stellenbosch for 25 years, making all the wines there in Franschhoek. Then he teamed up with Rupert and Rothschild. They made the Rupert and Rothschild wine label. He was in charge of that for 5 years. And then he started his own wine estate called Boschkloof. Reenen traveled the world as a winemaker and then joined his dad on the farm. And we partnered with Boschkloof because they are family orientated, they're hands-on, they're the winemakers, they don't employ the winemakers, they are the actual winemakers. They care for the vineyards, they care for the soil, and they make each and every wine. And we partnered with them in 2009, and it's been a success recipe right from the start. Our wines have accumulated more than 50 accolades over the years. It's exported around the world. People are enjoying our wines around the world. And we've had a fantastic relationship and partnership with Boschkloof and Reenen. And Reenen is the guy at the moment, he's making all the wines. I think his dad is more like me. We get into the retirement age now where we just oversee and we leave it to the young guns to do the jobs. And Reenen has taken that on. He's got some fantastic wines that he makes. He's got some fantastic ideas in the cellar, and he will tell you all about what he's doing in the cellar at the moment. And we've just enjoyed success with Reenen and Boschkloof since the day we've joined them. We're very proud of the association with Louis and the Boschkloof. And we're just enjoying the journey that we're doing with golf, sport, and wine. So that's all been a mouthful. We'll carry on and we'll do some tasting of the various wines.
Thank you so much, Bertu. I thought it would be a good idea to explain the wines that we've got, everyone on the call's got to taste, and the order that we can taste them in. Starting with the Sauvignon Blanc, and then we've got the Open Champion Syrah, and we've got the Jasoma Commemorative Conclusion that you kindly sent us last year, which you guys can explain. And finishing off with the LVII Cabernet, which is a stunning wine. And then obviously, please do take a moment to talk about the new wines that we've got in prospect that are coming over on the next shipment. It's great excitement for the new stuff. I wondered if I could ask you, Marion, and really to talk about a couple of things. Obviously, everyone's got the Sauvignon Blanc in front of them, I guess, pre-poured. And I wanted to start with a question, actually, that sort of pertains to the start of this call. Don't apologise for not being able to get on. We know what's happening in South Africa, but I wondered if you could expand quickly on the difficulties and the challenges with load shedding, with winemaking in particular, because, of course, it's an industrial process, right? And you guys must struggle a lot when the power suddenly shuts off. Be intriguing to hear a little bit about that. And then if you could describe the Sauvignon Blanc as well, that would be tremendous. Probably a good way to start.
Thanks, Titus. Just to make sure, can you guys hear me? Because I've been kicked off like 3 times now. Our signal is very bad now during the load shedding. All good.
All perfect. Can hear you.
Okay, yeah, so at least you guys can hear me. I've got a blank screen in front of me, so I can't see anybody. For some reason, the video isn't working. But,
don't worry, we can all hear you.
As long as you guys can hear me, it's all good.
Oh yeah, we can see your pretty face.
So I picked up about the challenges. It's quite tricky. I think big corporations in South Africa, they've got the cash flow and the means to survive situations like this. But I mean, for the smaller farmers and winemakers and sellers, it's quite tricky. Luckily for us at Boschkloof, my grandfather, about 35 years ago, he put in quite a big generator. It's quite old and struggles a lot, but we've got backup power. So in any emergency production-wise, we can actually get the job done. For us, the only challenge is our energy costs have almost tripled within the last 12 months. So cost-wise, financial-wise, it's a bit of a strain. Not to mention you guys in the UK have experienced inflation now as well. So we've got the higher inflation here with the load shedding. So it's not a pretty combo to deal with, but we'll get through. I think we're trying to get the job done and trying to focus on what we can do and not what we can't. So I think we'll get there in the end. But it is a big challenge. I think a lot of small businesses in South Africa at the moment are struggling quite a bit. So for us, I mean, Boschkloof is a small family vineyard. My father tends the vineyard at the moment. And I focus on all the wines and the winemaking. So my wife and my mother does the books, the financials, and the logistics. So in essence, we're a very, very small family business. We've got about three families staying on the farm that works for Boschkloof, and they've been with us for over 25 years. So I mean, it's actually we're quite fortunate to work in this situation. Everybody knows and understands Boschkloof, and everybody has the same motivation to make this place work. And if it works for everybody. So I must admit, sometimes I'm quite glad for our setup here at Boschkloof. Titus, you want me to speak about the Sauvignon Blanc quickly, maybe?
Yes, please. Yeah, I think we should start with that. It is it's the only wine we've actually got people tasting on the cooler. We are red heavy given what we have, but it's a great wine. What's your approach to white wine making? I mean, you could probably include the Chenin Blanc as well that's coming in this chat, because I guess it covers.
Yeah. So with the Sauvignon Blanc, we've got quite a different approach to making our Sauvignon Blanc, because in South Africa you get quite two opposite spectrums of Sauvignon Blanc. You get a very, very green asparagus, almost cut grass type aromatics. And then you get, on the other side of the spectrum, you get a lot of overly fruit salad, tropical guava type of flavors. We like to mix the two, grapes that come from a little bit of a cooler area and grapes from our side of at Boschkloof that's slightly warmer. So we're focusing on getting that style of Sauvignon Blanc where it's not too green, not too tropical, but you get a little bit of that almost kiwi, gooseberry in between flavors, where it's not too overly expressive and one-dimensional in a sense. But we try to keep it quite fresh, so we keep it in stainless steel tanks for about 4 months on its gross lees. So that means we after fermentation we keep the wine on the lees for protection and to gather some flavor and complexity. But it's still quite a reduction.
Sorry, what are lees? Are they the yeast cells, or is that?
So lees, yeah. So lees is grape particles, and obviously the yeast and everything else that settles to the bottom of the tank. But that's almost like the flavor party, if you know what I mean. If you keep wine on that, you can slowly extract a lot of flavors that's not immediately there after fermentation. So a lot of people rack the wine immediately just to almost protect freshness, but we like to keep it on that lees for about 4 months. And then while you age it on that lees, you batonnage the lees. So what that means is you stir up the lees through the wine and let it settle again. And that whole process just adds a flavor and more dimensions into the wine. And then about after 4 months, we rack the wine and get it ready for bottling. So then you've got a mix of that fresh fermentation flavors, and you also got some, a more complex mouthfeel due to the lees that we keep it on. So that's our philosophy with making Sauvignon Blanc. We want to keep that fresh fruit and brightness in the wine, but we also want to add, a little bit of a mouthfeel to our Sauvignon Blancs. Not too much, but slightly.
I think that comes through so well. Something that we're too used to in the UK market is really overly pungent and expressive Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand that sort of just blows your socks off in terms of the acidity at the back of your mouth and the overly expressive fruit flavour. And this one it's just a lot more restrained. It must come from that Lee's contact that you're talking about. But a wonderful wine, thanks.
Really. Yeah, it's definitely, it's definitely from that. I mean, it just reduces that overly, they call it primary fruit. And the problem I usually get with that is those wines, they're usually very pretty and jumps out of the glass for about 4 or 5 months, and then they all disappear. But if you work with the lees and you get, longevity in the flavors and in the aromatics, even if it's slightly subdued, they just stay longer and they age better, which I quite prefer.
If I can cut in there, in December, I had a 2015 Sauvignon Blanc, and it was even better than in the year it was released. So the way Reenen makes white wines, you can age the white wines and it can even improve in time. It's not a white wine where you have to drink a 22 or a 23 in a particular year. You can even age the white wines for a couple of years and not be afraid that it's going to lose its flavor or it's going to go off or anything like that. If you preserve it well, that 2015 was beautiful, was absolutely delicious. So that means that the style of winemaking enhances the quality of the wine and aging it better. This is off the side.
Brilliant. Chaps, I wonder if I just change the order a little bit, just because we're on white wines, just to talk about Chenin Blanc and the Chenin Blanc that you make. Obviously, it's the staple grape of South Africa. What's your approach to Chenin? Look at that label; it's great. Absolutely wonderful redesign. And what's typical about your Chenin Blanc style? Is it very typical of Stellenbosch Chenin, or do you do anything? How do you treat it?
Yeah, so Chenin is quite unique and quite a big love affair for me as well. I work with Chenin Blanc grapes all across the Western Cape in South Africa, and they all differ quite, extremely in extreme, but they all have got like a sense of place, and it's such a wonderful grape for our almost Mediterranean climate here in South Africa. So I think South Africa is the country with the most planted Chenin Blanc in the world, and we've got a lot of old vine Chenins as well. So we're fortunate that we sit with these amazing grapes that's been kept over the years and that make quite unique wines. My philosophy isn't specific with Chenin. I treat, or with Louis and Bertu's Chenin, I treat my Chenin Blancs quite similar in the cellar, with more of like a hands-off approach. What that means is I ferment our Chenin Blancs naturally without inoculating it with yeast, and then I make all my Chenins in a lightly oaked style. So it's got a little bit of oak age to it. It's got a little bit of that almost spice and oak-derived flavors, but then we keep a lot of the Chenin Blanc unoaked as well to add some freshness and some fruit. I quite enjoy Chenin Blanc because it's so versatile. There's so many ways you can approach it in the cellar, and so many ways that you can experiment making it with. But I found the combination that I quite enjoy is when there's a little bit of oak involved, not as heavily oaked as some Chardonnays per se, if you compare, but just a little bit of oak aging to add to the end of the wine. And then the tank fermented and the tank aged, I treat like the Sauvignon Blanc, as I just previously explained, but that's just to add some freshness and some fruit and some acidity to keep that almost lively focus in the wine. In the final wine especially. So yeah, Chenin Blanc is a beautiful grape to drink here from South Africa.
Oh yeah. And in terms of, you spoke at the start as well about old vines. What is an old, like, what's the best age? What is an old vine, and what does it do to the wine?
So old vine it's actually very funny, because in South Africa it's classified an old vine if it's over 35 years old, but in most, old world countries, you get, that's still young for them. But I mean, but in South Africa, they've officially classified old vines over 35 years old. The thought behind making wines of healthy old wines is just as the vineyard matures, its production slightly decreases every year. So you get, and the bunches. So you get this almost mature plant with smaller berries and a smaller crop, and if you compare that ratio, it's just a lot less juice to a lot less skin, and in the end you get a wine with more depth, more flavor, more complexity, and overall it just makes a better and more complex wine. So it's not to say young vines and vineyards can't make exceptional wines, but it tends that old vines sometimes make the more interesting wines when you're working with them.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much, Reenen. And safe to say, everyone, I mean, we haven't had the Chenin Blanc here, but we are going to bring it in. So something that's worked for us previously before very well is all the participants on this call, we will release a pre-order on the website for the Chenin Blanc and for the Rosé that we'll talk about at a pre-market price to try and incentivize you to get some before it actually gets here. And we can't wait to bring it in. It's going to be great.
And I've got one bottle here which Bertu gave me and my wife when we visited the vineyard a few weeks ago. And this one is personally signed by Louis. And just to remind everyone that we've got, I think, 24 bottles, which Bertu kindly allocated to us, which have got Louis' signature on it. And actually, for those who looked at the invitation at the bottom, we showed the video of Louis actually signing the bottles himself. So there's no forgeries here.
I think you're getting some of the Rosé as well, Simon, the new Rosé.
Also got one here, also signed by Louis. So yeah, just give us, because this is slightly different to the previous, is it not? In terms of the way you've made it, or?
Yeah, Reenen, I'm not sure if you can remember when you made this one, what you've done with it, but this is one of the stunning wines. It's off dry, it's not sweet. It's an off dry rosé, and it's really, really fantastic for summer. I'm sure everybody in the UK will enjoy it in the coming summer months. Reenen, can you still remember when you made it?
Okay, I'm unmuted. But actually, I can't remember the percentages of the grapes, to be honest. I'm trying to make less wine these days, not more, because I get so confused, to be honest. But the philosophy behind a good rosé, and especially for the one we make for Louis and Bertu, is you want to work with grapes that's picked for rosé. So there's two ways of making rosé. You can either blend a red and a white wine and it turns to pink, but that's taking shortcuts, and it's, the end result is never as good as it could be. And there's another way where you pick grapes earlier and you leave it on the skin till you find the color slightly pink or darker pink or even darker, whatever the market likes. But that's the right way to go about it, because then you're picking grapes with high acidity and fresh fruit and freshness in the grape. It's not a full ripe grape that's actually picked for white wine or red wine. So what we do with that rosé is we pick it for the rosé making. The Blanc, they call it a Blanc de Noir instead of a rosé, or it's a synonym, but it's the style we the residual sugar on the wine is just slightly more. So what we're trying to get there is it's not to ferment the wine bone dry. We're trying to get those almost acidity of the wine coated. So it feels like the wine has like a bigger mouthfeel to it. So it's not sweet. You won't pick up any sweetness, but the wine has like a coating feeling to it, like a very subtle sweetness to it. But it's technically on its analysis, it's almost still a dry wine. But yeah, we try and keep that residual sugar slightly higher for like an easier drinking experience when you're drinking rosé.
And by the way, the name is NelMari Rosé, so that's named after Louis' wife, NelMari.
Fantastic. So is it still closer, Reenen, this rosé to sort of dry? We're so used to Provence rosé here, or is it more towards that kind of white Zinfandel rosé flavour that's really sweet? I mean, where is it on the scale? Is it just really quite close to dry? Oh.
Sorry, Titus, I couldn't hear your question there. My signal is a bit bad.
So I was just sort of reiterating, it's much closer to a dry rosé than, say, like a white Zinfandel rosé that people are used to if on the sweet side of things. It just provides freshness. It's not like a very sweet taste.
Yeah, very much. You're not going to get that heavily sweet Zinfandel rosé feel to it. It's got like a balance between a very subtle sweetness and some great freshness as well.
Yeah, perfect. There is, before we move on to the reds, I thought there is now one question in the chat from an individual, which is just to ask, and circling back a little bit, but why is Chenin Blanc known as Steen in South Africa in particular?
Titus, Steen. Yeah, so Steen, it's Afrikaans for the word stone. And I kid you not, I can't remember how we got to that name. I'm trying to think. I used to know. I'm getting old and bald now. I can't remember all these tricky questions I learned in varsity, to be honest. So, but there is a reason. It's a synonym. So it's like all grapes have lots of names for the same cultivar. Yeah. Syrah, Syrah, it's the same thing. But yeah. I need to go back and see where that word came from. Bertu, do you know maybe? Or?
No, it's not important. It was a stupid question, actually.
Can't recall me, sorry.
I thought, actually, that's quite an interesting point you just brought up, Reenen, talking about Syrah and Shiraz. But we've got the Open Champion Syrah as the first red. And I was actually, one of the questions fielded from a member before this call was why is it called Syrah? And I actually said to the back, I think it's because the style of South African Syrah is closer to Old World than it is to Australian Shiraz, for example. But that could be a complete lie. I don't know if you could expand on that, or just generally on the Syrah and why it's such a great wine, really.
Titus, you're completely correct there. So, especially for Boschkloof, I think Louis and Bertu adopted the name Syrah because our family label is called Boschkloof Syrah, and it's just our approach to making the grape Syrah or Shiraz. So it's a quite a versatile grape varietal. You can almost manipulate the grape in certain styles in the cellar, So Australia can make it in a very heavily, almost sweet, oaky style. Where Syrah in the Old World, which South Africa, the style of South African Syrah resonates a bit more with the Old World because I think it's due to our old soils. We're the oldest New World country that makes wine. But the difference is then it's a slightly bit more spice, almost oriental spice orientated. It's got a little bit of fruit perfume, some riper fruits. So it's just almost indicating to people what style of Shiraz or Syrah are we producing to almost direct him to either they will like this style or not. But I prefer the Syrah style, so we try and keep, making it lean towards that style rather than the Shiraz style.
You know what? This I haven't had this wine in a while actually, and it's just reminded me how incredibly good it is. The power in the sort of characteristics beyond the fruit. What is it in the wine that gives it that kind of that really deep texture? It's almost I don't know what it is, but it must be from oak.
It's actually not. We've got heavily granite soils here at Boschkloof. And so we get that almost spiced. It's almost got like a peppercorn, cumin type of spice. It's there's slightly oak involved as well, but it's not heavily oak. So it's a mixture between the two, and that deep fruit comes from the granite soils. The beauty is if you make a wine with that aromatics, you don't want the wine to be almost flat and dead on the palate. You still want some, texture and structure on the palate when you drink it, and that's what the granite soils bring as well. It adds to that almost freshness rather than we call it a soupy wine, where it feels like it's too thick and too porridgey to drink. So very lucky. It's the soil. It's nothing we do in the cellar. We're just fortunate working with amazing soils here in Stellenbosch.
Can I jump in here? I mean, I know Reenen is not going to say this, but they are well known, I would say renowned for their Syrah. Their own Epilogue Syrah, which is their flagship wine. Reenen, under correction, I think you scored a 99 with Tim Atkins out of 100 in the UK. In a blind tasting. I know the Epilogue is one of the most popular wines that Boschkloof makes. I think Reenen and his dad specialize in Syrah, and that's also why we use the Syrah for our flagship wine, being the Open champion, and we renamed it after Louis winning the Open in 2010. So yeah, it's a top quality wine, and I think nobody will be more surprised to drink that wine and just taste that full body flavors and anything that jumps from the glass. It's really a fantastic wine.
Bertu, this might be a silly question. It sort of predates me when I came here. But do you have any? Were you producing this label in 2010, or when did Louis57 start? I was going to ask if you had any in the cellar from the actual vintage where he won the Open, but that might not be a thing, I guess.
No, we started with the wine in 2009. We started with the Louis57 wines, and when we started with Boschkloof, we went to the Syrah. In 2009, we didn't make a Syrah. We had a Merlot and a Pinotage and some white wines and so forth. And it was only after Louis won the Open that we went to Boschkloof to make the Syrah for us, and we made that special wine. And that Open, the Open Syrah also has won the most of all our accolades. Everyone, you can see all the accolades in the bottles. I'll show you a bottle of this now. I don't think there's place on the bottle left for accolades. And they're just showing the quality of wine that Reenen is making.
There it is. Yeah,
and this is our 2014 Syrah that they made. You can just see there all the various accolades that this particular wine accumulated, through all the competitions. And there's also some international competitions that were on there, not only in South Africa. So that's what they specialize in, and I think they can tap themselves on the shoulder of the quality of wines they put in. And can get your hands on a bottle of Syrah, please do so.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been in the wine industry for a meager 6 or 7 years, but this is definitely the best South African Syrah I've ever tasted, and that goes up against the stupid big names. It's fantastic. Simon, do you want to say anything? You're unmuted.
No, I was just going to wonder if Louis wins the Open this year. I guess we'll look forward to a second edition, will we? I think Royal Liverpool could be his type of golf course.
Can you imagine? Oh.
But those on the call who play their own golf will have their own view if they've ever played Royal. But I find it incredibly tough because you've got to hit the ball straight. But that's one thing Louis does, and he's very precise in his playing. That's what you need getting around Royal. So, big hitters don't do well. In fact, I think when Tiger Woods won the last Open, he played an iron through the entire round. Didn't take his wood out at all. So we shall see. But I know.
Simon, the one thing that you don't know about me is I'm an avid golfer as well. So this relationship with Bertu and their wines is actually quite fantastic. So hopefully when I'm in the UK next, you can advise me on a nice course to play. So just putting it out there.
Well, I think there's one or two golf clubs on the call that might take you up on that. So we might not put it out into the draw, and we can. Depending how much time you've got, you just.
I had to try my luck while everybody's on this call.
We'll certainly do that for you. No problem at all.
I'm sure you'll give him some of the summer holiday golf balls of yours to go and play with.
I've only got about 20, 30 days left now, and I don't want to play with them anymore because I'm afraid I'm going to lose them. I only bring them out on holes where there's no water, there's no bunkers, there's no out of bounds, because there's so few of them left. But yeah, there we are, the Hammer's brand. Well, that's worth.
Guys, we've got 2 reds left. I'm conscious of time and people's evenings, so we should probably talk about firstly the commemorative conclusion. What a wine! And if you could talk about the Jasoma concept of the wine and the blend, that'd be fantastic. Before we move on to the Cabernet Sauvignon, really great wine as well.
Okay, I'll kick off the discussion. Jasoma is named after Louis' 3 daughters. It's Jana, Sophia, and Emma, and we've made an acronym with their 3 names, and that's where the name Jasoma came about. And then we had a special gift box. We only made 400 of them worldwide, and we relabeled the Jasoma into the commemorative conclusion. And it is hand sketched by an artist in Cape Town. All 3 labels in that special gift pack has been hand sketched. And it's a limited release, not to be done again. And there's 400 of those gift packs that have been made. I see Titus showing, Simon is showing one of them. And that's where the commemorative comes from. It's again Louis winning the Open Championship, and we renamed that bottle of his as the conclusion, as a commemorative conclusion. Fantastic wine, also it's a Bordeaux blend. And I'm sure Reenen can elaborate a little bit more about what he's put into that Bordeaux blend.
Thanks, Bertu. Yeah, so it's Boschkloof, our family vineyard is actually quite renowned for our red wines more than the whites.
We've been so lucky on this call with the load shedding. I'm sure Reenen will probably connect again, but nearly got away with it. But if you unmute yourself, sorry, we just can't.
Okay, yeah, there you go. The conclusion is a Bordeaux blend. So he uses the various styles of Cabernet, Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot. So that's typical of the style of it, and then it's a different blend. How much of each he puts in the wine to give you that perfume character. Predominantly, it'll be a Cabernet based, then the Merlot, and then he will add the other varietals to give you the ideal taste to it. So typical Bordeaux style wine, really foodie wine. Best enjoyed with a nice hearty dish. In South Africa, obviously, we like to fry or barbecue, as you say. Right there's Reenen is back on.
Really nice. Sorry.
But the conclusion, the Bordeaux blend you make, maybe you can elaborate more about the Bordeaux blend you make, putting into the conclusion.
Yeah, so I got that question at least before it all went dark here. So we focus mostly on red wines. We're a bit more renowned for our red wines. We export about, with the Boschkloof wines, we export about 80% of our total production, 70 to 80%. So the conclusion, the whole thought behind making the conclusion, it's a Bordeaux blend, but we treat it quite classically in style, you know. So all the wines is fermented and it's left for like probably about 18 to sometimes over 20 days on its skins to extract, you know, a lot of tannins and structure and flavor. And then all the wines go to French oak barrels. So it's not a very complicated process, but it's very classic in style, something that's worked for hundreds of years. And then we age everything that goes into this blend separately for probably between 18 and 26 months. I can't remember how long this wine was aged, but I guess it's probably between 20 and 24 months. Mm-hmm. And then after it's aged, we take out all the components and we start blending them and get them ready for bottling. But it's just a wine that needs to have structure. You know, it should have a little bit more oak than the Syrah, so there will be a bit more of that like oaky cedar spice going. And it should have quite a good tannin structure for aging. Yeah. But it's all about, you know, concentration and almost a, you know, a full body to the wine that we quite enjoy in these Bordeaux blends.
Thanks. And when you make your own decisions about how to treat your wines, do you experiment at all with sort of different vessels? I'm conscious that a couple of other old winemakers do crazy things like use concrete tulips to age their wines, which it might just suit their kind of where they're making wine in the world. Is it a known science that French oak is the best for South African red?
I think it depends. You know, American, Hungarian, Austrian oak, everything actually, and I actually.
Oh, it's a little bit chopsy.
Vanilla, like cinnamon flavor, mother oak, and it's all more spice driven. And because we make these, you know, more structured reds, when you're working with grapes that are already fully ripe, you don't want to add sweetness from any oak to it. You want to add spice and perfume. So that was just a personal decision from my side in winemaking to go back to all French oak. But there are some grapes that tend to do well with other oak as well. So I also use cement in the cellar. I use stainless steel. I use big format barrels. So I do vinify and age wines in a lot of vessels, but for the Bordeaux, I still find small French oak, at least 2 years, gives a good product. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, anything else to add, Simon, on the Jasoma? I think we could just move quickly and talk about the main Cabernet Sauvignon. What a wine! Here we go. It's on Simon's screen now. I don't know if we can enlarge his screen. You're muted, fella.
I'll kick in here, Titus. We only made 800 of those bottles. I asked Reenen to go and source us a Cabernet and find us the right Cabernet. And he went and he waited. I think we waited 4 years for him before he harvested the right Cabernet grapes for us to make this particular wine. Because we said it must be something special. It's going to be a once-off varietal, and we really waited. We waited 4 or 5 years for Reenen before he said to me, "Okay, this year is the right year for the Cabernet that I've got in the cellar." And then we made the LVII. Now the LVII is the Roman for 57, so that where it comes from. The LVII obviously is Roman for 57. And we put it in a special box because it's a really, really special wine. We waited a long time before we made it. And we've just said to Reenen, right, we've sold out of the wine. We don't have any of that left in the sale anymore. We've sold out. If you guys got some stock left, then you are very fortunate. And we at the moment are waiting for Reenen to tell us when he will have his next batch of Cabernet available for the LVII. So unfortunately, for the last 2 years, we have been out of stock in South Africa. We don't have anything here. And we are just waiting on Reenen to give us the go-ahead to say, right, he has got the right Cabernet in the barrels again for us to remake a LVII.
I was thinking the other day how crazy it is that the branding is so like live, actually. It's almost there. He needs to shoot 54. and then it'll be there. Easy.
Is Reenen, Uncle?
I'm not sure. I don't see. He's
turned his camera off to help with the broadband, I think. So he's
okay.
And as you're talking about the Cabernet, Reenen, for me, Cabernet is simply the best grape variety in the world. Do you think that's been a bit extreme, or is it the one that you value the most? I mean, obviously coming from the land of the Pinotage and the Syrah, and how do you rank the Cabernet? I'm obviously you're proud of this one, so it should be, but can you just give us a bit of insight into that? Am I crazy to say that?
I'm not sure if Reenen is on the call anymore. I don't see his face. Reenen, are you there?
You heard the question and turned off the.
I think he's offline again.
Hates Cabernet.
Yeah, Cabernet is a fantastic wine because they use it for all the various blends. So the base will be a Cabernet, and then they will either blend it with a Merlot or a Shiraz or a Merlot and Shiraz. Blend to create different styles of wine. So blend in South Africa is very big. A lot of people rather drink a blend than a straight up wine, because if you drink a straight Cab or a straight Merlot or a Shiraz or a Syrah, you are bound to the quality of the wine for that particular vintage. But if you drink a blend, the winemaker can be creative and he can blend it till it's perfect, till it tastes right, till it speaks to him, So I think that's where the difference comes from. And mostly they're using the Cabernet as the base for the blend, and then they will add the Merlot or the Syrah or the Petit Verdot or any one of the other wines they will add to it to create a fantastic blend. So the straight Cabernet is still a very much sought after wine. Worldwide, I think people love a Cab. For me, it's a very sophisticated wine. It's a very sophisticated red wine. Okay, I see Reenen is back on. I've kept you up now. Reenen, you can go ahead now.
Okay, Bertu, sorry, I missed everything there. So our power just went back on, so the generator, the power was switched now, so everything went black again. But we're used to it, don't worry. We're not discouraged at all. What wine are we on now? Okay.
I was asking a question about the status of the Cabernet Sauvignon grape. I find it number one grape variety for me. But I was just questioning how you regard the Cabernet, and Bertu was talking about it as obviously as a base for many of the blends, and but obviously and how people enjoy drinking the blends because you can be very creative. That was kind of where the conversation was going. But I was asking how highly you value the Cabernet Sauvignon grape as a single varietal. Obviously, this one, but just as a winemaker.
Thanks, Simon. Yeah, so that one is we're actually busy making the new one for Bertu after a few years, and even though Boschkloof is mostly renowned for Syrah, I mean, I've just replanted 5 hectares of Cabernet on the farm last year, because it's just such a good grape to work with, and it suits so well to Stellenbosch in our conditions. Our granite and ferricrete soils is just made for Cab in a certain way as well. I just like the wine for its durability, its aging ability, its its way of giving wine that's muscular but with finesse if you get good grapes. And it's a wine that brings a lot of enjoyment to me as a wine drinker and not just a winemaker. So I'm also a big Cab fan in the general sense of wine drinking. And as Bertu said, I mean, I think we did this wine because it's sort of like the backbone of the Jasoma conclusion. And this one was just, we tried to do something where we looked for the right grapes and barrel selection, especially tried to get a few barrels that was tasting different in a quality aspect or unique even, and try to capture that in one small bottling. So it's quite those 800 bottles, if I remember correctly, 800 or 1,000 or somewhere like that. I can't remember, but I mean it's a very small bottling, and it's 800 bottles of something where other wines won't taste like that. So it's quite a special wine we made for Bertu and Louis.
Thanks very much. And what was so special about 2016, just in general, sorry, in South Africa? Was it just a great vintage in terms of the whole?
Yeah, it was actually, I quite like 2015 was for a lot of people one of the better vintages.
Yeah.
But I quite don't like, when those vintages come along, sometimes it feels like the winemakers in South Africa or the people, they try too hard. So you get grapes that's already extracted or already full of flavors, and then you work it hard in the cellar and you almost overdo those vintages. And the 2016 was just slightly less. So I felt like that was a vintage where everything was more in balance. I didn't have to try hard to do anything. You could almost focus just on that simplicity of a above average good vintage, where it's not all about this wine has overly much extraction and overly much flavor and now it's a good vintage. It's the same as the 2019 vintage for me in South Africa. So I quite like it's actually the vintages we are tasting by coincidence. I quite like the 2018 and the 2016 vintage, though on paper, I think the 2015 and 2019 would have seen as slightly more premium. But that's me personally as a winemaker. That's not in general for everybody else.
We'll take what the winemaker says. 2019 next, Simon.
We'll be there.
Thank you, guys. That's a really good rundown on all the wines. I mean, we are at the end of what we sent to everybody. So I wonder, do you want to round up, Simon? Or should we?
Yeah, Bertie, would you mind giving us a couple of minutes on the spirits, which I know that because this is wine and spirits, and just a quick overview there, so that the people can understand that there's a lot of diversity in the Louis57 range. Give us a couple of minutes on that, and then I'll round up the event.
Yeah, all right, great. We thought like we're not going to stick just to wines. We started with beers at one stage. We had a couple of different lagers and we had a stout, pale ale, and so forth. And then we went into the spirits as well. So we started with Louis loves magic. He loves card tricks. Whenever you find Louis, he will do a couple of card tricks, and he's got some real magic tricks. I mean, there's still some tricks that I want to figure out how he does it, how he tricks us. I must admit that it's also after a couple of glasses of wine that when he does his tricks, so he's very clever about that. He waits till everybody has indulged well into the wines, and then he does his card tricks. So you find it a little bit more difficult to see how he does it. But the magic gin is a blue gin. So the gin in the bottle is actually blue, but when you add tonic to it, it changes to pink in your glass. So the magic happens when you add tonic to it. So that's why we call it the magic gin. It changes color. So for the guys out there who want to treat his girl do some magic. Just put some blue gin in the glass, add some lovely tonic to it, and you'll get some magic happening in your glass. Not only that, but it's also a fantastic gin. The botanicals in the gin is really, really good. It's a nice dry gin. So not only the colouring that's happening, the quality and the taste of the gin is really, really good. And the UK people, I know they love the gin. Really give this one a try. I'm sure you'll be surprised about the gin coming from South Africa as well. And then, not sure if all the guys in the UK drink brandy. They probably do a cognac, but we've gone for a 5-year-old brandy. Not only that it's 5-year-old, but it's 5 times filtered. So it's really, really, really smooth. This is the equivalent of a cognac. It's better if you drink it neat. Just 1 block of ice maybe to it, or if you like a bit of water or soda, you can add that to it. But it's a really smooth brandy. So maybe the people in the UK that used to drink brandy, give this one a try. It's like a cognac after dinner drink. You have a nice double in a glass with a bit of ice, just to cool it down. Really, really good stuff. So yeah, that's the liquor we're doing at the moment. And then we've got a couple of other things coming down in the new year that we're still developing. That will all let you know about, Simon, within the next couple of months once we release them.
Thank you, Bertu. And just to finish it off, a 12-year-old single malt whiskey, which
We are a collector's size,
which we have very privileged to have, obviously 12 years after the famous St Andrews win in 2010. And if you ask anyone about single malts, pretty in demand. So a whole series of wonderful gifts, whether it be the commemorative gifts, the LVII, or indeed the whiskey, which get incredible as gifts. So I think we're kind of out of time, unless there are any burning questions onto the reading for. I'm just going to say, first of all, what an incredible privilege for us to have Reenen and Bertu on the call, and to add my congratulations to the accolade you received, Reenen. Rachel and I were privileged to go out to the winery a number of weeks ago, and to anyone who wants to go visit, I encourage you to do that. And I think there's some golf to play down Mossel Bay Way. So we've all spent too much time kind of looking internally and not going away and abroad, and I think people are starting to wake up to that, and what better place to go than South Africa and enjoy some wines and golf. I think there's themes that come out from today of state bottled wine of the highest quality, of the authenticity of it, of the narratives that come with in this case, the golfing stories, and also the charitable objectives of the Louis Foundation and everything that he stands for. You know, these are the 3 things that blend the passions, as we describe it, as falling wine. And you know, as I say, it makes it for us the perfect match. And all we need is Louis to win the Open in July at Hoy Lake, which is, of course, I know well, and many members up there who play the course and are part of the Hoy Lake sort of coterie, as it were. I'm sure we'll be willing Louis on to do well with a glass of wine, or indeed a magic gin to one side. Perhaps he can reproduce some of the magic on the day. And so I think it remains to me to thank Titus for coordinating so excellently, to thank Georgia, who put on the whole call today and has done the logistics. We got over the load shedding. That didn't stop us. So, Reenen and Bertu, thank you very much indeed for your time. As I said, this is recorded. There are a number of people who will be tuning into this in the coming weeks as a kind of statement of what you represent. And we look forward to bringing some more of your wines into the UK, particularly as the summer months come through. And you know, it's been a real privilege for us to have you on the call. So thank you very much indeed. Goodbye to Sporting Wine, and we will see you again very soon.
Thank you, Simon and your team. God bless. That's it.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.